No, you sound good.
Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. It's Monday. Happy Manic Monday. I don't know about you, but I've already had a manic Monday. I'm super excited. We're a little bit early this week, but I love this show. This is our series, Fierce Forward, with my dear, dear, sweet, amazing friend, Cindy DeCoster, cindyforthecouncil.com, Fierce Realty. We're here to talk about, on our show today, authentic leadership, to preach what you practice. I love the spin on that. She's going to tell us all about it. Welcome back, Cindy. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks so much, Ted. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I love this topic. But before we take a deep dive, I always like to give anybody who's tuning in the first time a little bit about you. So give us some Cindy 101.
I'm Cindy DeCoster from, my husband and I own Fierce Realty, a boutique brokerage. We have 2 locations in Central Florida. I am Cindy for the council, have been for the last 4 years, for running for the 2022 National Treasurer. I'm the slated candidate for the Women's Council of Realtors, and I couldn't be more proud to share what I know, what I've experienced with you, our audience. So thank you.
So let's take a deep dive because I love this topic. Let's talk about authentic leadership. So we preach a lot about authenticity and vulnerability on the show. A lot of guests come on and talk about how important it is. So before we talk about specifically the topic, give us your definition of what authentic or authentic leadership looks like to you.
I think it's how you show up. It's not, oh, this is my professional persona, or this is my home life, or it is, are you a walking, talking example of what you stand for? So I think that's the being authentic, is just being true to yourself in your core. So this year, our Florida State President of Women's Council of Realtors, Amy Snook, her theme for the year was authentic leadership. And she had Dan Owolabi, the author of the book, Authentic Leadership, come in and give us a speech and conversation about what it means to be authentic, and kind of the, and again, it should be super simple. It is how you show up. It is, leading by your example, and not just practicing what you preach, but preaching what you practice.
I want to talk about the spin on that a little bit, but I want to ask you, I think a lot of people, when people will come up to me and they'll ask me after a show, you know what, I want to be authentic. And then they'll say, but I don't know that I've ever known how. And I think that that's actually a very fair and honest answer. People are so used to putting on airs. They're so used to having different masks for different situations. And so to be authentic in general is a challenge, but then to be an authentic leader, I mean, you have to really be comfortable in your authenticity. So how did you become authentic? How do you identify authentic with you? I know you because I know you're the same morning, noon, and night, no matter what situation we're in, no matter who we're talking to. It's Cindy, Cindy, Cindy is the same. Most people don't have that.
Thank you. I feel the exact same about you. I think that's why we can speak so comfortably about this topic. I think it happens to be who you are, and then, oh, by the way, you're a leader, and you're leading people through your vibe, for lack of a better way to say it. So I always joke and say, I got into real estate to get out of management, right? So, and now here I am running a company, and I'm running for an office of like 12, of like over 12,000 members. And it's kind of like, it makes me chuckle because it's truly, I didn't seek this. It became because I am authentic. I am. What you see is what you get. You may not like it all the time. I may not tell you what you need to, what you want to hear, but I'm always going to tell you what you need to hear. So even take it to real estate. So when I got into real estate, I, again, knew nothing, but I knew that I didn't know anything. I'm a great business person. I'm a great, communicator. Customer service is my thing. And what I realized was my customers would look at me and they would see either their sister, at the time, their daughter or granddaughter. Now they see their mother, right? As you evolve in 20 years, right? That happens.
That happens.
So it was kind of like, how do you see me? And that's who I showed up as, because I'm all those people. I didn't change like, oh, I'm going to be like, you know, prim and proper, when I'm kind of a jeans and t-shirt girl. You know what I mean? Like, you know, no, I didn't wear jeans and t-shirt to work, but I am who I am. And, you know, I'm a New York Italian, Catholic, raised in the, you know, by a military man, in the Bible Belt of the South. So if you don't kind of get who you are, then nobody's going to know who you are.
Well, let's talk about that, because I have experienced myself on the leadership part. So let's, we just came through a crazy election, for example. And I think people have a hard time believing that anyone is an authentic leader. I know when I've run for stuff, if I've ever been involved in any kind of, because you're running for council, and I was always amazed at how I would get, I can use the show as an example. I put my show out to promote some things when I first started really working in the mortgage world. And I can't tell you how many people copied that show or tried. Let's say they tried. So do I think it's flattery? Not really. I think it's laziness, in my opinion, but that's my personal opinion. What do you say to people who want to figure out how to distinguish the authentic leader? And have you experienced anything like that?
Oh, that's such a great question. One, I say that like the PC answer, because again, although I'm authentic, there is a you know, let's raise each other up. So it is a form of flattery. It absolutely is. The human side, I always say like, oh, I hate the human side of me. I really like to be the focus, the fierce focus and flexible girl. Like I like to be the superpower, superwoman. But every so often the human side of me comes out, and it's like, it's super disheartening. And no matter who you are, if you are copying somebody else, if you are imitating somebody else, you're not really being true to yourself. So for example, Cindy for the council, I, by advice of great mentors and forward thinkers, said, Cindy, you are not running for a position. At the time I was running for National Executive Committee. And they said, Cindy, you are not running for a position. You are running for the next opportunity to grow in the council through leadership and share your leadership with other people. So I'm like, so Cindy for the council was born. And that was 4 years ago. And so now I'm seeing it show up in other people saying, you know, this name for the council. And it's kind of, again, the political.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is the way that you framed it, you have a history with it. So Cindy for the council can also be that you are a proponent of the council. You are supportive of the council. It's just like when I did the TED show and somebody came up with the Robert show, I almost fell out of my chair. I'm like, oh, couldn't you have just named it anything else?
Right.
But that to me is where you separate the authentic leadership from the inauthentic leadership. If all you do is want to recreate somebody else's creativity, you're not really being creative, my opinion. 100%. So I think authentic leadership is hard for people to identify because they have been blasted with so much inauthentic leadership for so long.
Truly, yes. And let's, like, again, I'm the queen of positivity, right? So let's put it in a frame of positivity. So shout out to Yvonne Sandoval with Leverage 365. Had a conversation with her, and I was really struggling, frankly. I was really struggling that campaigning for an office and having to talk about myself is extremely uncomfortable. That is not my lane. I'm always about my agents. I'm always about my council members, my council leaders. Like, how can I get you to your next? That's always my conversation. It's always my focus. And now I'm having to share online, no less, that who I am and why I'm the slated candidate chosen by the National Nominating Committee to move forward as the National Treasurer. Like, how do I frame this? This is so unauthentic to me, right? And so she says to me, in like the most profound, I love you, Yvonne. She says to me, Cindy, you are not promoting yourself. You are sharing what you can bring to the council and move them forward.
She's a very smart woman.
Experience. So I'm like, okay, now that I can get on board with. So I'm hoping that the people that are reading my council posts or campaign posts or receiving my emails or videos, that they're understanding that this is how I can help you. Like, I'm going to take what I've learned, what I've experienced, and move it forward for you to use and implement and attain your next. So somebody coming in to kind of steal, borrow, rip off and duplicate. We love the R&D word, right? Rip off and duplicate. Yes, don't reinvent the wheel. But if you're talking about who you are and what you can bring to the table, copying somebody else isn't exactly that, is it?
It's interesting. It's interesting. I think whenever anybody's running for something or feels threatened in their leadership or feels threatened in whatever they're going through, like in my case, it was somebody trying to capture some of the market share that I might have had on the mortgage side. I don't know. I'm guessing because I've never spoken to the person about it. But I think a lot of it comes from fear and doubt. And, I mean, those people just need to figure it out. But I can tell you that most people, once they get a good feeling for somebody, they can sniff out the difference. I'm not sure how this past year could play into that, but overall, people can smell out the difference of an authentic leader or an authentic person versus an inauthentic one.
Right, right. And going back to, I think it's about your journey. Like, you really need the level of experience. I think you need to have things to bring to the table. And if my place is to be the inspiration for somebody else's platform, then you know what? It's kind of a super big compliment. And go back to fear. So I love fierce. Fierce is kind of my word. And so I started, 9 years ago when I read Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott, changed my life. And so when I had the opportunity to start my own company, Fierce Realty was kind of born, and we created an acronym around the word fierce because, what does it mean to be fierce? It means there's something very different to different people. Some people hear it and they're like, oh, they see lions and they see vicious and that's not it at all. In fact, It's the absolute opposite. And so fierce is an acronym that stands for fearless, intentional, energetic, resilient, courageous, and do everything to a standard of excellence. If that doesn't embody who I am, then you don't really know me.
Correct.
You don't really know me.
I love the approach. I also love the fact that you don't change. And I mean that in a positive way. So this is where you get the authenticity. The authenticity should never change.
Right.
It should be a constant.
Right.
And you're a constant. And I think people can sense when somebody is consistently the same way. There's a comfort, there's a trust, there's a respect. I know that I personally don't like to be around volatile people. It's not my favorite. I grew up in it. So of course I've got a whole nother story about that. So if there's somebody that's volatile, I will not meet with them, do business with them, interact with them, because I don't have time in my life enough for the amazing things.
Right.
I don't want to have that energy in my world.
But you know what? Let's kind of pause on that for a second. So again, I also grew up in a very volatile situation and or an environment. And what it does is it shows you red flags. Like, we're able to see them before most people.
100%.
So going through the challenges and the obstacles and all the things that lead us to be the amazing people that we are, and let's own it. We're amazing, Ted. Come on.
I'll take it. We're amazing.
we're amazing, right? We're amazing people.
There's no cocktails right now. It's just Coke Zero.
And so so when you have those experiences, you can identify it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't be, and we're okay with it. It's you, not me, right? It's the syndrome of it's you, not me. One of my favorites is it takes two to fight. I'm out. I'm not interested. Like it's not.
God, does that make people mad who only know
Yes.
how to communicate via fighting? It's
Yes.
insane.
Not interested. You know what?
Oh, thank you.
You know, unfriend me, block me on Facebook. It would be like taking out the trash, right?
Amen to that.
So I'm not saying it to be catty or crass, rather, but moreover, own who you are. Be comfortable in your skin. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. That's okay. I drink coffee. We're fine with that. You know, we're okay with that. But here's the thing. I would love to help you pull out your greatness, pull out your fierceness, and embrace that. And that to me is something to celebrate. That to me is worth the energy. There's a great quote that says, spend time with people that deserve your time, not demand your time.
Yes.
And when somebody's being catty or off color, or you know, less desirable than you want to be or need to be, you know, that it's okay. It's okay to walk away. Like, hold your head up high, know who you are, know what you bring to the table. And owning it is a beautiful thing. That was Elizabeth Mendenhall from our National Association of Realtors president a couple of years ago. She's, I think it was 18. I love that. Like, oh my gosh. And you know what's really cool is I have been given her Own It pins or coins twice. And it's
what a great idea.
Oh my gosh. Like it is such a compliment. And that's the real compliment. You know what I mean? And one of the greatest compliments is seeing my kids embrace the lessons. So what I am practicing at home is the same thing I practice in my social life, in my work life, and moving beyond people that no longer serve you and your life and your purpose.
That's right.
Is okay. And when I say my kids, just embrace setting goals, achieving milestones, like celebrating their successes along the way. To me, that is proof perfect that I am practicing what I preach in all facets of my life. So I'm incredibly proud of my kids. And I always say, since the very beginning, I got into real estate, yes, to get out of management, but I also said I would not sacrifice being a poor mom to be a great realtor. If they don't complement every facet of my life, then I'm not interested in being a successful realtor. If it means sacrificing my family and my kids, and since that philosophy was my foundation, everything has been blessed by God in like plentiful, bountiful ways. So,
the way it's actually a great foundation. All right, Cindy, for the council, tell us the best way to reach you. People want to find out more about what you're doing, more about Fierce Realty, and more about the council. Tell us the best way for them to reach you.
Thank you, Todd. So Cindy, the number 4 thecouncil.com is my web. My internet again. You can email me at Cindy you can use it for everything, basically. So Facebook, my professional page on Facebook is Cindy, the number 4 the council. And of course, Cindy Alfonso DeCoster is my homepage. So they're all connected because my professional page is my personal page, and there's nothing that is different on one than the other. They're just a different audience that Facebook allows us to reach. So, all
right, you're a joy. Thank you so much. That was excellent. Cindy DeCoster, Cindy for thecouncil.com, the number 4. All right, we'll be back next time, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much,
Have a good Monday.